Hetepu, Assalamu Alaikum, Namaste, Haru Nefer. This is Kasank Ma Keparu with a new video for you. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how to control the rogue intelligence within you. Interesting, huh? But before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. And if this is your first time watching, please subscribe to my channel. And also share this video with family and friends because we want to get this revolution started. Now, before I go into the subject matter at hand, I want to talk about my new ebook, the New Kepara Ankh. New meaning the primordial waters of Nun. Kepara is the transformation, and then Ankh is life. So the book is the master key for manifesting a new reality, and I go into that in the ebook and more. Just recently, I saw one of my old motivational speakers or teachers giving a lecture, and he was talking about a program that he's offering, and it will be only on sale for about 7 days, and then he would take it off the market. Well, he always has programs. He always has them for 7 days and takes them off the market and puts them back on the market again. And he's just using that as a way to, you have to use that time limit, because sometimes people, if you don't give them a deadline, they won't order or take advantage of an opportunity. But in this case, when I came out with the ebook, I told you that you did have only 7 days to order it, and I am going to take it down. The website is going to go down, and the reason for that is that no, it's not a flash sale or a hype just to get you to order, but this ebook comes with a 30-minute consultation and oracle reading. Now, the response that I've gotten has been phenomenal. It's been great, but too many. So I can't keep this opportunity open for everyone because it would just completely book my schedule with all these consultations, and I wouldn't be able to get things done in the daytime. So if you go to the website and you find that it's still up, order it. If not, it's going to be taken down, I guarantee you, and you won't see it again. So it's not a situation where I'm just going to take it down for a little bit and bring it back up. No, it's not going to happen. When it's gone, it's gone. And like I said, if you go there now and you see it, order it. If it's not there, then there's nothing I can do for you, because I've been getting emails from individuals saying, well, I won't be able to order it until Saturday when I get paid and all that. And there's nothing I can do for you, all right? I've extended this offer twice. So if you are not able to jump on it right away, then I'm sorry. Because when I was studying in the priesthood, and I went around studying with different magis and masters and gurus or sifus or whatever you want to call them, I was paying thousands of dollars. And at no time would they have allowed me, if I asked, oh, well, could I pay you on this day? I don't have the money. And they would have been like, no. Because if you really, really want the power, the information, you will take advantage of it right away to get this, because there are other things I'm sure that you're using your money for, but I always allocate my money for something that makes me more money. And in using this power to manipulate reality, you can actually work it to bring you more funds, or to manage your finances, or to bring you a house, a car, your beautiful mate like me, whatever. So think about that, So again, please don't email me saying, hey, can I order it on Monday next week or so, because I'm just going to say no, and sometimes I even reply to you because I get so many emails. But anyway, let's get back to the subject matter, which is how to control the rogue intelligence within you. Now, in the previous video, I talked about how there is two things. There's an indwelling intelligence in you, which the Egyptians called Osir, and there's another intelligence in you that creates scenarios and situations for you to go through for your benefit. And sometimes those scenarios and situations may not be to your liking. For example, you may get to work late and you're hoping you won't run into your boss, and just as you get off the elevator, you run right into your boss. Well, there is no coincidence. There's what we call a synchronicity, which was coined by Carl Jung, but that situation was specifically created by the intelligence within you, so you can learn from that experience. Maybe the message there is to come to work on time, all right? So you have to think about these things. But when you start to understand that this intelligence is there creating these scenarios at will, well, not at will, but it's creating it on its own without you consciously aware of it, which is why we call it the precognitive sentient intelligence. You start to think, well, why can't I control this? And you're absolutely right. You can control it. The problem is it's been going rogue without you realizing it because no one has taught you how to use it or to communicate directly with it. And when you start to learn to communicate with it, then your whole life will be in synchronicity, meaning things will just align. Opportunities will be there. Money will be there when you need it. People will be there. Resources will be there. And it's a beautiful symphony. It's just wonderful. And you have what Ma'at calls is consistency, because that's abundance. It's having the things you need when you need them. All right? It's not hoarding money like you'll see the capitalists do. The ruling elite, the 1%, controls probably around like 99% of the wealth on this planet. And that's just hoarding the wealth. And then they manipulate circumstances where they take resources from one group, give it to another, and then watch them fight over those resources. Like, you know, they take land away from one group and give the land to the other group. And then this land starts this group starts fighting this other group because they want their land back, and it all becomes complicated. And the best example of this you can see in Africa. Africa's been raped and pillaged, and the natural resources have been taken and dispersed to other countries. So, you know, just research that as a case study. But this intelligence within you can be communicated with, and you can control this intelligence. In fact, that is a natural state. That is what you're supposed to be doing. But because you're unaware of that, it's going rogue. It's doing things that it wants to do. All right? So the key here is that we can control it simply through right brain meditation techniques, or simply through just speaking to it mentally in your mind. And I always say when I'm doing consultations, have you built a relationship with the spirit? And what I mean by that is this indwelling intelligence, you need to build a relationship with it. You spent many years ignoring it, all right? So now that you want to get control and you just go into a meditative state and say, I want you to start doing this and doing that, well, it may not listen to you because you have now forfeited your agency in a way. You know what I mean? And in the story of Asar, it said, Heru, if you understand that story, Heru is your will. And as in the Chinese oracle, the I-Ching says, you've given your magic tortoise away, meaning you have allowed the power within you to be dictated and controlled by outside forces. And this brings me to the next step. The ruling elite, the oligarchy, understand that you have this power, and they manipulate it to your detriment. In other words, they're very much into Freemasonry, they're very much into numerology. So what you see are buildings and symbols on the buildings, like gargoyles or other weird symbols. You may not be aware of it, but those are they're done specifically and have very specific meanings that communicate to your subconscious mind. And this is why you'll find that whenever you try to get your finances in order, it doesn't work out. Whenever a certain demographic of people try to get out of a situation that they're in, they can't, because these things happen. Just like, let's take Hitler, who is a psychopath. And he targeted the Jews, and in doing that, he used occult means to put together symbols, not just the swastika, but these occult symbols that would communicate to the consciousness of people that would get them to go against the Jewish people. And the same thing you can see that's happening here in North America, to where it's not so much the Nazis anymore, the Third Reich. There's a Fourth Reich, but I don't want to go into that. But you'll see that there are symbols and signs all around, subliminal symbols and signs, and I call this subcommunication. That's communicating to your right brain, and is getting this intelligence within you to start doing things that are not conducive or life-affirming to you. And I want to play just a brief clip. I don't want to play the whole clip from Billy. If you don't know him, please do your research. Billy Carson, he's just a phenomenal individual, and he does a lot of speaking and writes books. And he talks about this. Now, the most extraordinary thing about this is, let's take this further. It's not just about this intelligence lining up things through synchronicity, but I've said this before. The ruling elite controls time and space. Let me say it again. The ruling elite controls time and space. So when I talk to individuals who may be in niche groups, let's say, for example, I talk to individuals who are in the Black nationalism, I talk to individuals who are feminists, when I talk to individuals who are in Jewish groups, and I say, you will not win this fight and overcome oppression by simply battling these forces through economic, political, or military means. Especially not through military means, because they have advanced weaponry they haven't even made you aware of. So we're at least 100 years behind in what they really have. What we see is 100 years. In other words, they're 100 years ahead of us technologically, at least 100 years ahead of us technology-wise. So they can, through synchronicity, through manipulating the superconsciousness, they can create reality. They can create synchronistic events that are to their favor, which is why you'll see things pop up and you'll wonder, like, well, how are these individuals making all this money? How do you have Jeff Bezos become one of the most richest men in the world? Well, when you start to understand that they control time and space, they can manipulate things to make certain individuals very wealthy. All right. But the thing is, you can do the same thing. And I've tried to plead with certain groups and organizations to start tuning into this power that is within them. But they sit back and say, oh, this is you're speaking mumbo jumbo, occult hype that doesn't really work. Well, I want you to hear it from this gentleman, Billy Carlson, and what he has to say on the subject matter, which is just phenomenal. And I've been saying this for years now, but, you know, people tend not to want to hear the truth until it's too late.
As a magical type of a structure that actually has the capability of transforming the ether around it to get certain outcomes to happen. It's almost like the buildings cast spells. So that's part of their design work. So when they design something like some of the buildings in Washington, D.C., they've been designed in a specific grid, on a specific wheel type of a layout. And each building has a specific type of cornerstones and measurements built into them that are supposedly, according to the ancients, generate a specific outcome, where that outcome is dominance, power, money, control. This is how they believed back in the day, and they still currently believe it right now. So they continue to let it propagate on through, and they really build these structures that way. A lot of the church structures, believe it or not, the cathedrals and so forth, are built by Masons. And those, again, are designed to control the people. They're designed to control a specific type of frequency out of the ether that puts a controlling mechanism on the people. And it obviously has worked very, very well over many millennia. So that's something that a lot of people don't even know or never thought about, was the fact that the structures themselves are built specifically mathematically to generate emotions, feelings, and outcomes, kind of similar to the pyramid structures, if you know.
Now, I want you to understand the key word he said. Now, we know that you can manipulate the human psyche, but he says specific outcomes. Because when you start tapping into that and creating a reality, an outcome, meaning you're taken from the alternative space, as Vadim Zeland, the quantum physicist, says, the alternative space, or the space of infinite potential realities, and you choose one, you take one, and it becomes a reality in this fourth dimensional plane, then you have mastered time and space. And that's exactly what they have done. So if you can think about this, you're dealing with a very highly sophisticated group, a small group, versed in the occult practices, that before you even start to do your thing, they've already manifested an outcome that's probably 10 moves ahead of you. How do you beat somebody like that? Well, as I said before, it's not going to be electing somebody in office. It's not going to be through economic empowerment, though that's good. But you're going to have to fight those occult forces with occult forces. You're going to have to just go to a one-to-one with that. And this, my ebook, The New Kepler Ankh, is just a step in that right direction of teaching you how to tune back into your own power that the ancients or our ancestors of antiquity meant for us to be. But they have specifically interrupted the space-time continuum, meaning that history has been changed so that we will not know about this power. Just like I said that the ancient Kemetic people did leave behind records of how they built the pyramids, but notice how those records disappeared. that we can't find them. And the archaeologists and Egyptologists say, well, the Egyptians didn't document that. You're talking about very meticulous people who recorded every aspect of their history and every aspect of their daily lives. Why wouldn't they have recorded why they built the pyramid? That makes no sense. Unless you can come up with two hypotheses. One is that they didn't build the pyramids. The pyramids were already there before that culture, that civilization came to fruition. Or someone went into the Metu Neta and removed it before modern archaeologists and Egyptologists could go in there and decipher and use the information. So that is where we're at. That is how you can control this rogue intelligence, and it's either you control it or you will be controlled. I want you to think about that. It's very, very important. This is why the information that I'm teaching, I find it's just so essential for us in this day and time, because as you know, we have tried everything. We've gone through the 60s with political unrest. We've tried to create these organizations which become co-opted and taken over, and then worked to use to oppose us. So what else is next? We've got to tune in to the ancient knowledge of our ancestors and start using that to fight this global elite that have a very dark future in store for us. So I'll leave that as is until my next broadcast. This is Kasak Ma Keparu, son of Tuti and Ma'at, Amen Ra.